4 is here. Another week down, and just like that, we are already a third of the way through the season. Damn, it's actually kind of sad. Playoff picture is starting to take shape, the conference races are heating up, and big questions still remain. Which teams are for reals, and which teams are about to get exposed? Let's dive into some of the biggest matchups I'll be watching on this week's slate of the college football season. What's up, fellas? We are back. College football is now entering the very important middle part of the season. This is where conference contenders really start to separate themselves. But with me saying that, there is still some out-of-conference matchups that are very intriguing. So let's start there with a major Group of 6 matchup between the Mountain West and MAC. At 9 a.m. Pacific, my UNLV Rebels will head to Oxford, Ohio to take on the Red Hawks. Don't be fooled by their 0-2 record. Miami of Ohio is an okay team. Against Rutgers, they were in the game until it got away from them at the start of the second half. And against Wisconsin, they hung around for most of the game before the offense finally stalled out. And that's been their issue all year so far. Quarterback DeQuan Finn has been a mystery. And that's surprising because, shit, he's a college football vet at this point. Like, I'm pretty sure he played against CJ Stroud when he was a starter for Toledo. And CJ Stroud's been in the league for like 3 years, I think. And at this point, he's 1 year away from being able to collect a pension from the NCAA. And I'm not saying that to disparage him, but it's to prove that he's played a ton of football at this level and at the Power 4 level. He was once considered the top quarterback in the MAC. It's been a while though. So far this season, he just hasn't fully clicked with his offense. Whether that's the offensive coordinator or his receivers, they're just not on the same page. Luckily for him, Paul Guenther's defense is still a work in progress, and that fucking worries me. I would hate to be the team that he finally gets right against. At his best, he's the most athletic quarterback we'll face all year. At his worst, he is an inaccurate turnover machine. For Rebel fans, we must hope that his woes continue. For UNLV's side of this equation, this has trap game written all over it. The Rebels are riding high after a 3-0 start that includes a win over a UCLA team that is not good at all, but it's still a name brand win. Offensively, I have no doubt we'll be able to move the ball up and down the field. Corey Dennis and Dan Mullen have this group humming. The big question, like I just said, is our defense. We've seen flashes of progress, but the level of competition hasn't really told us much yet about Paul Guenther's abilities at calling plays. We've struggled to contain athletic quarterbacks so far, but we have the athletes to rectify that problem. We just gotta play fundamental football on the defensive side of the ball. Keys to this game for the Rebels: run the ball early, open up opportunities in the second half so you're able to throw bombs and run up the score. Defensively, stay sound, tackle, play discipline. Please, we don't want any more stupid penalties. Make Miami of Ohio beat themselves. If I haven't been clear so far, this is going to be a close game. Closer than the UCLA game was, but I'm going to ride with the Rebels. They're just going to edge it out. So, prediction, UNLV wins a tight one. Go Rebels. Now, moving on from one of my teams, let's look at the other. My USC Trojans come home after a solid road win over Purdue to face a familiar foe in Jonathan Smith and the Michigan State Spartans. I'll be honest with you, I feel more confident going into this game than I did against Purdue last week. Part of that was the nerves. USC wanted that first road Big Ten win so badly that it almost made them play too tight. Now that that's out of the way, I expect them to look more like the Trojans we saw in the first 2 weeks. My concern is still the defense. On paper, the numbers don't look bad, but if you actually have watched the games, the secondary has been sloppy, blown coverages, lapses in focus, things that are beneath this team. And the linebackers outside of Eric Gentry, who is a baller, have been inconsistent. One drive they look like downhill tackling machines, the other they just look lost. It's so frustrating. Luckily, there is a chance we won't have to face Michigan State's biggest weapon in Nick Marsh, as reports aren't sure that he'll be able to play on Saturday. So there is no excuses for our secondary to give up big plays. The good news is pass rush is real. Anthony Lucas, Jakeem Stewart, Ja Jarrett, and all the rest of the defensive line make that defensive front terrifying. They're going to be a nightmare for Big Ten offensive lines all season. So until the rest of the defense is on the same page, they'll need to pick up the slack. On offense, Mayava is rolling. Our wide receiver room is destroying folks. Jacoby Lane, Makai Lemon, and hell, even Tanook Hines after last week are ridiculous. Michigan State's DBs can't cover them. They won't cover them. The real test is going to be up front. This is the first Big Ten size defensive line that USC's O-line will actually see. Can they protect Maava? Will they open up holes for that running back room? Because if Wayman Jordan, Eli Sanders, Brian Jackson, King Miller get an opportunity to really bust this game open, it will get ugly fast. Prediction, I think you guys kind of know where I'm going with this. USC not only covers the 18.5 spread, but they blow out the Spartans. Hopefully, by halftime, this should feel like a done game. Just make me look right. Fight on, beat the Spartans. Let's stay out west for a big Mountain West showdown between two bitter rivals. Fresno State is heading to Honolulu to take on Hawaii. This rivalry has always been spicy. Both teams never liked each other, and they never will, but they are both off to strong starts. Fresno State has been mauling people on the ground. Rashawn Luke and Bryson Donaldson are one of the best running back duos in the conference. I said one, not the best. They are one of the best. Both are averaging over 6 yards a carry on the ground, but caveat is they haven't really played anyone outside of Kansas. I can make the argument that neither team has really played anyone outside of their 2 losses. The Bulldogs do thrive on 3rd and short situations though, and I feel like if you want to win the game, you gotta make EJ Warner throw the ball as much as possible. That's when I think mistakes can pile up. Nothing against the dude, I just don't think he alone can win games. Hawaii, meanwhile, has done exactly what you'd expect a Timmy Chang team to do. Air it out, play fast, and hope the defense just holds enough so you can win the game. Good news for the Rainbow Warriors, Mike Alejado is set to return from injury, and boy do they need him. They'll need him at his best too to beat this Fresno team. On paper, Fresno is the safer pick, but the weird thing is, as you all know if you're Mountain West fans, it's not called the Hawaii test for no reason. Teams come to Honolulu and get exposed. They have like this weird superpower on the island. So even though Fresno does have the better roster, I'm trusting Timmy Chang, Mike Alejado, and the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors to get it done at home and pull the upset in probably one of the games of the week this week. I'd like to do something real quick. Some Mountain West honorable mention games. Boise at Air Force. The Broncos win and cover. But if it's close or they lose, I think this just proves that you don't need to fear them like we did last year. This just doesn't feel like a Broncos team that should command the same amount of respect as prior years. UTSA is going to Colorado State. The Rams must win this game to matter nationally and just be taken serious in the conference. Wyoming at Colorado. I think the Buffs win, but man, would it be fun if Wyoming pulls off this upset. So, Cowboys, make it tough. Shout out to y'all, though. This might be the national game of the week. Utah hosts Texas Tech in Rice-Eccles. Both teams look good. Both look like playoff dark horses. Both have me thinking that this could be a preview of the Big 12 championship game in December. Texas Tech has dominated so far with all the transfer portal talent they got this offseason. They've completely rolled everyone on their schedule up to this point, but that's expected when you play nobody. Baron Morton has stepped up at quarterback. I can't lie. He's showing me that he can really sling it, and I now believe that he's more than just a game manager at quarterback. The question is still whether that offensive line can hold up against Utah's massive front. If Tech can make this a shootout, get an early lead, and have Utah chase the whole game, they can definitely win this game. Utah, meanwhile, looks like the Utes that we've all gotten accustomed to. Big, physical, mean in the trenches, but we still have to give some credit to their quarterback, Devin Dampier. He has energized this offense. Now, this isn't surprising to someone like me who was an avid Devin Dampier fan when he was at New Mexico last year. I just wanted him to clean up the turnovers, and it looks like he has. Prediction, Utah's at home, and it's just way too tough of a place to beat them at. Rice-Eccles is a fortress. I know this being a USC fan, and even if we were to go back to the Mountain West days for Utah, it was hard for UNLV to win there. This is a close one. Utah wins it, but I think that they will eventually rematch in the championship game. So, shout out to the Utes. And finally, let's look at a Big Ten matchup that might have national ramifications later on this college football season. Heading over to the great state of Nebraska, home of the undisputed super middleweight champion of the world, Terrence Crawford. Alright, look, I know he's from Omaha and the University of Nebraska is in in Lincoln, but to someone like me, same place, all right? And what feels like a legacy game for both schools and both head coaches. Michigan is still finding itself. Quarterback Bryce Underwood has shown flashes of greatness and has all the tools, but to pretend like everything has been perfect with him would be a complete lie. He missed some very important chances in the Oklahoma game that could have kept them in it. Wink Martindale's defense has been solid, but the Wolverines just need more consistent offense for them to be a true player in the national playoff considerations. Bad news for them, their head coach Sharon Moore is suspended for this game, which adds another wrinkle in this storyline. But their interim coach last week looked good against Central Michigan. Nebraska, meanwhile, is gaining momentum. Dylan Raiola, okay, I know it's Raiola, has the tools, but the question that follows him is, can he deliver in big games? Matt Rule Year 3 metrics say at this point, this is when he and his teams are ready to take that leap into national relevance. So that's a good sign for them. This feels like one of those moments where college needs Nebraska to be good again. That fan base, that stadium is special, and what they've been served the last, almost 10 years is not acceptable from even a neutral's point of view like myself. So with that being said, my prediction is the Huskers shock Michigan in Lincoln, get a legacy win for Dylan Raiola, and a statement win for the program. Let's get the honorable mentions out of the way. Purdue versus Notre Dame. Irish win close. And yes, I am only picking them because every time I do, they lose. So please continue this trend. Shout out to Barrio, though. Illinois versus Indiana. Illinois is a tougher, better football team. I have no clue why Indiana is favored. Auburn at Oklahoma. Sooners cover. John Mateer looks great. I just don't trust Hugh Freeze is what it comes down to. Florida versus Miami. Look, I'm going to go against the grain. And to be frank with you, I don't like Carson Beck. I feel like he is not a good quarterback. So hopefully the Gators prove me right. And one more, Delaware versus FIU. I think the Blue Hens go into Pitbull Stadium and steal one. Nick Minicochi, that's a wild name by the way, is balling right now. All right, well, that's about it. That's my week 4 preview. The playoff picture is forming. Frauds will be exposed and contenders will rise. Who do y'all think will get the upsets this week? Drop it in the comments. I'll try to respond to all of them. So that's what's up. If you like stuff like this, think about subscribing. Most importantly though, it would mean a lot to me if you like the video. Okay, bye.